So you're thinking of moving to the ATL, the Dirty South, Atlanta in 2024. Well, I was born there, Crawford Long, 40 something years ago. I'll let you take a guess on that one. So let's talk about the ATL. So I was born in Atlanta, the city of Atlanta at Crawford Long Hospital, but I grew up primarily about 45 minutes north of Atlanta, believe it or not, on a horse farm. So I've spent a lot of time in the suburbs and I've also spent a lot of time in the city. So I feel like I'm pretty experienced to talk about the pros and cons of living in Atlanta. We're going to be talking about the food, the culture, the lifestyle. Of course, we're going to be talking about real estate and yes, even politics. I'm going to go there. I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly, the cold hard truth, everything you need to know about living in Atlanta because that's what I've been doing for the past 40 something years. Here we go. I'm Rip Pruitt, a realtor here in North Metro Atlanta, and my channel is all about real estate and lifestyle and culture in the Metro Atlanta area. So if you're thinking about moving to North Metro Atlanta, I'd love to help you out. Give me a call. All right, so let's talk about the first pro of living in Atlanta, and it's going to be a juicy one, politics. Now, I'm going to call it a pro because there is a kind of a interesting blend of diversity in politics because what you're going to see, Atlanta is a blue city. Okay. But if you look at really the rest of the state of Georgia is more red. So you've got kind of the city center area is blue. And then as you start to get out into the suburbs, you start to see a little bit of difference. So for example, if you're in Buckhead in Atlanta, some of the views you may be experiencing are more liberal. Whereas if you go an hour north, say to the Dahlonega area, you're going to experience completely different political views of more conservative and maybe even a bit different worldview than what you'll experience in the city center. So in reality, it could be a pro or con depending on what you're looking for and where you believe. So for example, if you're wanting to move to the city, that's where your heart is felt, but you are more diehard on some red conservative beliefs, you may have a little bit of turmoil. I myself, here's my political views. Psych, I'm not doing that, not going there. All right, here's our next pro, diversity and lifestyle and culture. Sounds fancy, right? Here's what I mean. Lifestyle meaning, let's say you're wanting a condo, high-rise condo, even penthouse style. You can get that in Atlanta. There's tons of options for that, city living. But let's say we more want the suburbs. I want the big backyard, throw the ball back there with the kids, that type of thing. 30 minutes out, you've got that. Let's talk about the diversity and culture, another major pros. A lot of people, when it comes to Atlanta and being in the South, maybe don't think of us as necessarily being diverse in culture, but we really are. I think a huge contributor to that is our airport. It's one of the biggest in the world, international airport, but not only in the city, a diverse culture, but even as you get outside the city in the suburbs. So I live just outside the suburbs and there's a lot of things I can't talk about without talking about food, but let's talk about another pro of living in Atlanta, and that is the Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta Airport. Now, as I mentioned before, it's one of the largest international airports in the world, so it makes it super convenient if you need to travel or if you want to travel. You've got the need to travel for business, you've got the want, the desire to travel for vacation. You can do either one. So if you live in the city, you're talking about maybe 15-20 minutes. The airport is located more southwest of the city center, but it's easy to jump to. Even if you live in the North Metro area, you're typically, again, if you know how to navigate Atlanta, hour or less of getting to the airport. So that is convenient. Could it be a con too because of some of the traffic it creates? So really the airport, I'm going to kind of leave heavily pro, but has some con to it. Now, let me throw a con out to you. It is the population migration to Atlanta. There's a huge population migration coming to Atlanta. We have a lot of folks moving in from different states, and when that happens, happens, obviously it creates traffic. A lot of people don't like more people. And so the more Atlanta gets crowded, then you start to see more of a population migration outside of the city as it becomes more and more crowded. Now, I say it's a con, but it can also be a pro with home values increasing. Maybe it could be a con if you're trying to buy, but for example, myself, my wife and I bought our home right around 9 years or so ago. We bought it for $325,000. Today, we could sell it for around $700,000. Do we like it that the home values have increased? Yeah, we love it, but it's also in an area, we're in that Swanee area. That's a suburb north of Atlanta. So to give you an idea, when people are trying to look at a national real estate market, it just can't be done because nationally, we increased a little bit in home value prices this year. In Swanee, it increased over 20% over the last year. So yes, it gets expensive to move there, but the trade-off is your home is going to continue to rise in value. All right, so let me give you another con for all you negative people. Don't be negative, but if you are, you're going to love this one. Traffic. There's no way for me to spin this as a pro. Traffic can be pretty bad in Atlanta. It can be standing still. Now, we're not Chicago, LA, New York bad yet. We're probably not too far behind, but I've been up there and it's definitely worse there, but we've got bad traffic. And that extends into the North Metro areas, even the suburbs, some of the busier highways, you're still going to be either creeping in the mornings or in the evenings, or you might even be experiencing some of the standstill. Now, a little bit of the pro is as you learn Atlanta, you can figure out ways to cut down in traffic. 85, which is one of the major interstates, has a HOV lane. If you're carpooling, you're able to get in that lane. It's usually moving faster than the other lanes. You can also pay for what's called a Georgia Peach Pass. I have one of those. It saves me tons of time. I love it, but it is a pass. It's a sticker that you put in your car on your windshield that allows you to get in the Peach Pass lane. So only cars that pay for that Peach Pass lane can get into it. It's a few bucks to drive down a few exits. For me, it's worth it. I hate traffic and I love being able to zoom by traffic as all those suckers are sitting still. Also, you can cut down ways of traffic as you learn the city more. You can figure out if I jump off this exit and cut through these couple of streets, I can knock another 5 minutes off. So again, just depends on how much work you want to put into solving traffic. If not, you will be sitting in some traffic in Atlanta, especially during those rush hour times. All right, now I'm going to give food as a pro for Atlanta. Now, some may argue that, and I'll tell you why. I give it a pro because we're in the southern, food is delicious. We fry a lot of stuff. We bake a lot of stuff. We don't have the healthiest of foods, but it is delicious. I'm telling you. But here's what we don't have, okay? I will have clients who move in from more up north, maybe New York, maybe different areas like that. And their complaint is we don't have the 80-year-old restaurant that has been the Italian restaurant for the last 80 years that everyone goes to and knows is great food. And across the street is the Chinese restaurant that has also been there 60 years. And then down the way is the Cuban restaurant that's been there for 50 something years. We don't really have those and having a wide range of cultures. So we've got a wide range of foods, but you do see a lot of turnover for some reason in restaurants. There are very few areas where it's the restaurant that's been there for 50 plus years. So I do hear complaints about that, but overall, the food in Atlanta is great. There's some great restaurants. You can always find a good southern restaurant as well as a restaurant from about any culture you can think of. So pro for food for Atlanta. So if you're thinking of moving to Atlanta and you need a realtor, you know who to reach out to, please give me a call. I'd love to help you. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe. Peace. Love y'all.